All right. Well, hello, everybody. All right. So this is actually, make a note here so you can remember. This is question 5 in module 13. All right. So you may have read the instructions and been a little confused by this. And the reason that if you were confused, the reason is probably because it's asking you to build a view based on another view. That other view they're asking is a little bit complicated, and so they don't give you any instructions on what that view is supposed to be, other than that it is found in chapter 14. So it should be on page 244 of your textbooks. But this is it. It actually gives you the full code to create that initial view that you use to create another view based off of that. So actually, once you have this code and actually put this in, then creating the view that they're asking for is not really that big of a deal. So let's just walk through real quick, and I'll give you some pointers on how to do it. Okay, so the question is, write a non-updatable table rental stats view. So the view that we're going to write is called rental stats. Okay, and it's going to return 2 columns. Okay, it's going to return a rating column and then another column called the rent ratio column. Okay, so you can kind of envision, and I think that in the questions and the exercises, they actually show that to you. But this is actually, it's going to look like you're going to just have a table of 2 columns. One is going to be the actual rating. So, G, PG, R, whatever. And then the second column is going to be this information called rentals. Let's see, rental ratio, I think is what they call it in there. So it's going to be the number of rentals divided by the inventory count column. So as you're going to see, that's pretty easy to create. We're just doing a simple mathematical operation to create that column. And so really kind of the confusing thing is just that it asks you to use this other table, film stats, or it's actually not a table, it's a view. They're asking you to use this other view called film stats, which is not in there and you have to create. So this is the code for it. It's like I said, it's actually is in the textbook. I believe it should be on page 244. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run this code. And we're just going to go ahead and create the view. Okay, looks like the code ran okay. So let's go ahead and have a look at what's in there. So we just know what we have to work with, what the column names and everything are. So select everything from film stats. Yeah. Oops. Create view film stats. I created, okay. Oh. Sometimes it's the most obvious thing. Forgetting to include the from. Okay, so here we go. Pardon that little brain freeze there. Okay, so we've got this view that we've created. It's not an actual table. It looks like a table, but it is a view. It's temporary. It's not actually, there's stored in there. This is just kind of like almost like a stored query that you run. So it's got all this stuff in it. Let's just pay attention to the things that we're actually looking for based on the instructions. Okay, a rating column. So we actually see right here, here's the rating column that we're going to use. Okay, and a rent ratio column. So if there's no rent ratio column, we've got to create that. And we're going to do it by dividing the number of rentals. Okay, so we have a column here called number of rentals. Very good. We're going to divide that by the inventory count column. So we've got that right here. All right. So it looks like we're in pretty good shape. So let's first just create this as a query. Okay. So to get the information that we want. So the first thing is we want the rating column. Okay. And then we also want another column that's in the number of rentals divided by the, excuse me, yeah. Is it the number of rentals divided by the inventory count? Okay. So that's really easy. All we have to do is just do it like we're doing regular division here. Yeah. And let's call that rent ratio. Okay, from film stats. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. See what happens here. Okay, so it looks like this has given us a something here that produces exactly what we were looking for. So we've got the rating and then this rent ratio. Okay. All right, and so really the last step here is that we have to actually save this as a view. So view, I think that we're going to create, it's a rental stats, what they called that table, rental stats. So create view rental stats, and then we give it a name. Not give it a name, we give it as, and then we're creating it as this query here. Okay, so it looks like our view has been created. Let's just confirm that. Select rental stats and see what we got here. Yep, perfect. All right, so as you can see, that's actually, once you have that other access to the code for creating the table, this is really not that much of a problem. Just as a good measure, because I don't need this view, I'm going to drop both views here. So it's simple enough to get rid of them. So drop view rental stats. And then film stats. All right, and voila, we are done. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions with that. Otherwise, have fun with it.